Welcome to Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we're going to be breaking down the latest Steelers wide receiver trade rumors that are swirling around Steelers Twitter right now. These wide receiver trade rumors just won't go away, even though we're in the middle of Steelers training camp. So today we're going to talk about the latest surrounding the top wide receiver trade targets surrounding the black and gold. Now, predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will the Steelers trade for a wide receiver before the trade deadline this year? Not even before the season. Do you think the Steelers trade for a receiver before the deadline this year? Give me a yes or a no to kick off today's show. And with that, let's get into our top story here, which, of course, we haven't talked about CeeDee Lamb in a couple weeks here since actually I was on vacation in Minnesota. But now he's holding out of Cowboys camp. And he's holding out because he wants a brand new contract. And the VP of the Dallas Cowboys, Stephen Jones, of course, he's also acts as their GM, says that CeeDee Lamb wants to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, outpacing even Justin Jefferson, who just got that $35 million per season bag from the Minnesota Vikings this year. So this is the list of the highest paid wide receivers according to per year salary right now. Justin Jefferson currently making 35. AJ is hitting at the 32 mark. Tyreek Hill is tied for third with Amon-Ra at 30. And you guys can see the rest of the list there. But apparently, according to Stephen Jones, CeeDee wants more than what Justin Jefferson got. But an earlier report said that Lamb simply wants what A.J. Brown got, at least at $32 million per year. So who do I believe here, Stephen Jones or that earlier report? The answer is I don't really know, okay? You just never really know what's real, what isn't. I wouldn't be surprised if CeeDee wanted the highest contract in wide receiver NFL history, right? It wouldn't surprise me. But in terms of a trade for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think that Pittsburgh needs to give the Dallas Cowboys something in exchange that they can replace CeeDee Lamb's spot in their offense with. Right, so you need to give them a pretty darn good wide receiver if you want any shot, any prayer of landing CeeDee Lamb in a trade. Again, he is holding out of Cowboys camp. It doesn't seem like the Cowboys want to pay him whatever number he's asking for. So here is what a trade could potentially look like if a deal got done. I think you would have to put George Pickens in the deal. And not only that, but I think you have to give up your second rounder for the next 2 years. So not only do you give up a potential star receiver in George Pickens, but you give up 2 really high draft picks in the next 2 drafts. Plus, you have to pay CeeDee Lamb at least $32 million per year. And if those reports are true about him wanting 35 plus per year, that's even more money. Okay, now the reason why I think the Steelers might in the future consider trading George Pickens is because Ray Filipaldo from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said yesterday, after George Pickens had a heated exchange with new Steelers wide receiver coach Zach Azzanni, that he could be the quote-unquote next guy out if his poor attitude continues. And then, of course, at practice today, Justin Fields missed him on a wide-open slant route, and he was like jumping up and down, showing how upset he was with Fields for missing him on that play. So this is certainly somebody that Mark Caboli from The Athletic has said needs to, quote-unquote, grow up. And if he doesn't get better and doesn't get more mature here, I could see the Steelers potentially packaging him for a legit star receiver like a Brandon Aiyuk or a CeeDee Lamb. So let me know down there in the comments section. Would you do this trade, all right, with George Pickens and his attitude issues and CeeDee Lamb being arguably like a top 3 receiver in the league right now? Would you accept this trade? Type A for accept or type D for decline. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Now, for me, guys, if Lamb wanted 32 and not like 36 million, I'd think about it, especially if George Pickens continues to show levels of immaturity on the practice and playing fields here. Lamb is legit. He's not really a headache in terms of being a diva. He doesn't have temper tantrums or anything like that. Of course, he's holding out of Cowboys camp, but that's just contract related. I think a lot of players do that nowadays. So, CeeDee Lamb is one of the best receivers in the league. I had him as my offensive player of the year in the NFL last year. I thought he had a better season than Christian McCaffrey, if I'm being honest with you. I love CeeDee Lamb. I'd love him to be in a Steeler uniform. So, if that offer's on the table, I'd at least have to think about it. Now, coming up here on Steelers Talk, the Steelers are reportedly interested in trading for Tyreek Hill. I'm going to be addressing that rumor and whether that's realistic or not. But before we get into that, I want to have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat right on the app, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to whatever event you choose. And guys, it's not just Steelers football games. It's not just Pirates games at PNC Park. It's comedy. It's theater. It's anything. It's music festivals. It's anything that you can get a ticket for, man. Game Time probably has it on their app, which is super easy to use. It's the only ticketing app I have on my phone because of all the great features on there. And what I really love about the Game Time app is they get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all in pricing, so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout. I hate when ticketing apps do that, guys. And flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to your event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps. It's right down there in the bottom right of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So according to Omar Khan, who talked to the media yesterday after the first day of Steelers training camp practice, there is no trade currently in the works for a wide receiver. Now, this is also the guy that said that he had full faith in Kenny Pickett. So you should absolutely not take anything that Omar Khan says publicly as fact, okay? Because these NFL GMs, they do the GM speak thing, guys. They're going to tell you things that are super generalized. And of course, they're going to say that there's no trade currently in the works because they're trying to maintain leverage, right? So don't believe Omar Khan. There could be a trade in the works. It could be the fact that he's telling the truth, but just because Khan says it doesn't necessarily mean it is fact. But then a report comes out today from Chris Halicke from DK Sports Media, or DK Sports, Pittsburgh Sports, I should say, who says that Pittsburgh is, quote-unquote, convinced that they will land either Brandon Aiyuk, DK Metcalf, or Tyreek Hill in a trade at some point. This is the report from Chris from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Khan has long been in discussions with other teams about receivers that could be traded. And according to a team source, the Steelers are, quote-unquote, convinced they are going to land Aiyuk, DK Metcalf, or Tyreek Hill in a trade at some point. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way. They're not getting Tyreek Hill, okay? Yes, the Dolphins just gave Tua Tagovailoa a massive contract, but Tyreek is still under contract for quite a few years there in Miami, and he's just so integral to their offense. They're going to give him whatever figure that he wants. I'm sure by the time he gets paid next, it'll be like $37 million per year. And honestly, he's worth it for how valuable he is to that offense. So I do think Tyreek Hill, very valuable player, and the Dolphins will end up getting something done with him. Really don't think he's going to end up a Pittsburgh Steeler, at least not anytime soon. Now, however, I do think that the Steelers could potentially make a move for either Brandon Aiyuk or DK Metcalf, but at different times. All right, I think the time to go out and do a trade for Brandon Aiyuk is now, before the season, all right? Because I think that if you wait till the trade deadline for him, he's going to be playing for the 49ers. They're going to be a really good football team, and Brandon's just going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to spend the rest of the year here in San Francisco. So if you want to land Aiyuk, you have to do it now, while the trade request is still live, while he's not practicing, while an extension hasn't been done. So the clock is definitely ticking if the Steelers want Aiyuk. And it's not going to be cheap. Not only do you have to pay him $30 million per season on his next contract, but you likely have to give up at least your next 2 second-round picks, James Daniels to upgrade their offensive line there in San Francisco, and Calvin Austin III. Now, will the Steelers pay this much? I honestly don't think so, which is why I think the Steelers probably won't get a deal done for Brandon Aiyuk. But if a deal will get done, it will be pricey, but I guess we'll see if it's worth it. But another guy that I think is really interesting in terms of a trade deadline target, DK Metcalf, because if that offense and that team is struggling with Geno Smith for the first half of the season and they decide to be sellers at the trade deadline this year, I could see DK Metcalf be a potential trade target for the Steelers. He has excellent chemistry with Russell Wilson, established chemistry. They work together during the off seasons. And obviously, he's a unique physical talent, as big as he is, as fast as he is, as talented as he is, as a deep threat. I would love to see DK Metcalf in black and gold. Now, I do think he'll be pricey as well. He's still young. He's a unique physical talent. And I think it's going to cost at least 2 second-round picks, all right? And that's just going to be the price. That's a high price, but DK Metcalf's a really freaking good player. So if you want him, you're going to have to probably pay up. Now, who would you rather trade for? Let me know down there in the comments section. Would you rather trade for Brandon Aiyuk before the season starts, type BA, or would you rather wait to the trade deadline and get a DK Metcalf, type DK, if you would rather do the Seattle wide receiver? Now, still to come here on Steelers Talk, I have one more trade idea. There's one team that I would have Omar Khan give a call to here for a specific wide receiver. But before I reveal who that team and who that receiver is, make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you're enjoying the content here on Steelers Talk. We got over 55,000 Yinzers already subscribed. We have weekly live shows. 3 times a week we go live. It's all 100% free. And we have daily Steelers videos for free every single day here during Steelers training camp and all throughout the year. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. And, of course, if they make a trade, we're going to be going live with breaking news coverage. So don't miss any of the Steelers action this season by clicking that subscribe button and joining the Steelers Talk family. Okay, now, the team that I would go out and give a call to right now is the Houston Texans. And the reason for that is that they are loaded at the wide receiver position, right? They have an abundance of riches in that room. Okay, and I'm not even listing Robert Woods here, okay? Robert Woods is a pretty decent backup piece. But they have Stephon Diggs, who they traded for. Nico Collins had a true breakout season with C.J. Stroud last year. Tank Dell was one of the most reliable rookie receivers in football last year. And then John Metchie has had one hell of a training camp this year, and so has Noah Brown. Their highlights are going all over Twitter right now. And I believe C.J. Stroud even says, we have 5 number 1 receivers in our building right now. Now, of course, C.J. is going to hype up his guys. But honestly, man, they've got some good players here. And the guy that I would be targeting if I were the Pittsburgh Steelers is none other than John Metchie. I think John Metchie, what he could bring is a true replacement for Deontay Johnson. Right now, the Steelers, their wide receiver room, it's pretty much all deep threats, right? George Pickens, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson. All these guys are deep threats, right? And smaller deep threats. But John Metchie, he is a tactician as a route runner. He's somebody that, his route running has gone viral multiple times on X this year because he does have incredible stop-start ability. He's got incredible nuance with his footwork. And I do think that, if the Steelers wanted to go out and give, the Texans a call to see how much he is for the right price, I would definitely take a chance on him. And I think anything less than a second-round pick, I would consider it. A third-round pick for a guy in John Metchie, who was a former star receiver at Alabama, somebody that C.J. Stroud has been absolutely going to bat for this offseason and during training camp. He's been lighting it up during camp and OTAs. Honestly, man, I think John Metchie could be an excellent fit here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, is a third-rounder maybe a little too rich? Sure, but if you're in the situation the Steelers are in right now, I think you definitely have to consider it. Steelers can't give up their 4th-rounder, and I don't think the Texans would give up a 5th-rounder or would take a 5th-rounder for him. He's just too good. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. John Metchie for a 3rd-round pick. Is this something that the Steelers would win? Would the Steelers win this trade, or would the Texans be fleecing Omar Khan? That'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Trade Rumors. Make sure you click that subscribe button and type Real One down there in the comments section if you made it to the end of today's program.